Good morning. Welcome to Tiempo. My name is Miguel Perez.
And I'm Anna Carbonell.
And on today's program, we're going to teach those of you who don't speak Spanish a little English, and those of you who don't speak English a little Spanish.
Oh, wait a minute, Miguel. How are we going to do that?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that.
We're on camera here, Miguel.
I know. Hopefully, we're going to try to do that because we have Professor Carlos Vega, who has invented a new system of communication, phonetically communication. And he's going to tell us all about how his system works in emergency situations, especially. And we also have a nurse here from Christ Hospital in Jersey City who's going to show us how the program is working in her hospital.
Very good. And later on, we're going to learn about some of the problems that are facing the Hispanic elderly here in the city.
That's right. And after that, we're going to tell you about some cultural Hispanic festivals that are coming up during the coming week. So stay tuned, spend more tiempo with us, and we'll be right back.
Right back.
Mis pechugas de pollo tienen más carne en sus huesos. Usted obtiene un bocado más en cada pechuga.
These people might be considered old. Does it follow they're senile or soon likely to be?
Monday on Eyewitness News at 5, Stormfield reports on senility to remind you there is hope.
Then at 6.
For many people on vacation, the biggest problem of the day is avoiding sunburn.
Unless you're on a bum voyage.
Sometimes vacationers can be hooked by a con artist.
Watch Eyewitness News plus senility at 5.
And bum voyage at 6, Monday.
This is the connection you've been waiting for. Turn on WPLJ for the best rock, the best jocks, the best music mix, with more of your favorites. WPLJ has it all. More of what you want from your radio station. WPLJ, the home of rock and roll.
These people might be considered old, but does it mean they are or will become senile?
Senility is not a normal part of aging.
Starting Monday at 5, Stormfield reports on senility to remind you there is hope.
Old age stereotypes are more damaging than you may think.
My mother used to say a half hour of chit-chat was more tiring than a lot of work.
Watch Eyewitness News Monday at 5 and find out how to grow with grace.
People generate saving power with home energy improvements. Call toll-free and start now with a free energy audit from your utility.
Not being able to communicate in any language can be a very frustrating experience. But in an emergency situation, it can almost threaten your life. And Professor Carlos Vega, our guest today, has developed a new system of communicating phonetically. Welcome to Tiempo. Pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
We also have with us Miguel Francisco, a nurse at the Christ Hospital in Jersey City, where this program is being implemented. And she's going to tell us all about how it works there. So also, welcome to Tiempo. Nice having you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Professor, let me ask you first, start with you. How does it work? Is it like a universal language? What is it that you're accomplishing here?
Well, I'm trying to accomplish that two people who speak two different languages can understand each other without knowing the language itself. That's the main purpose of the Instalang method that I called Instalang, which stands for Instant English. Sometimes we find two people that are trying to say something. They're trying to communicate, and because of the language barrier, they cannot convey a message or say whatever they want to say.
Is it like Esperanto, that universal language?
No, Esperanto, no. It's a method of using simplified phonetics. And maybe the term phonetics is not the right one, because it tends to frighten people a little bit. When you say phonetics, people think of difficult, strange symbols and so on and so forth. But
doesn't the dictionary already do that? Give you a phonetic pronunciation of almost all the words?
It does in a way, but the Instalang tries to help the common guy, not the professional, not the intellectual individual, but it goes to the people themselves, and that's why I said before, the simplified phonetics because it tries to help the common guy.
It's aimed at emergency situations like in a hospital or police department?
Yes,
that
yes.
kind of thing?
Mostly it was developed to help someone who happens to be in a bind in some kind of an emergency, to help that individual get over that emergency as quickly as possible. That's the main purpose of the
Does it
Insta-like
work
method.
both ways? In the introduction here, I said that we were going to, on this program, we were going to teach everybody how to speak a little Spanish and vice versa. Does it work both ways, from English to Spanish?
It does work for Spanish-speaking people and also for English-speaking people, so it works both ways. Even though I developed, first of all, the method that would allow the Hispanic person to speak in English, but then I also developed the other way, the other method.
Well, give us an example. Give me a phrase that you would say in English, for example, and then how you would spell this phrase phonetically in Spanish, and that's how they would get to pronounce it? Is that...
Well, the best example that I can give you, even though it may not be an emergency word, would be the word house, casa. That if you would find any person, any Spanish-speaking person who doesn't know English, who doesn't know the language, I would happen to see the word house spell out, H-O-U-S-E, he may say, without knowing the actual pronunciation of the word, he may say ouse.
That's right, because that's the way it's spelled.
That's the way it's spelled in Spanish. So all you have to do is to transfer or to converse that house, H-O-U-S-E, into the way that a Hispanic person would actually pronounce it. And the conversion would be J-A-U-S with an accent mark over the A. And if any person would see that just by reading,
he would say house.
That transcription, then he would say house, which is the actual sound of the English word. But if he would see the word itself, the spell out H-O-U-S-E, then he would say ose, which really doesn't mean anything in English.
I see. Let me turn to Mireia for a second here. How does it work in the hospital? How are you using Professor Vega's program?
Okay, we're using it both ways, really, for the patients and the Spanish-speaking patients, and also for the staff. So we have, Professor Vega has developed two booklets, the Mediclang A and the Mediclang B. Mediclang B is the one from English to Spanish. We have distributed all over the hospital, including ancillary departments, plus
That's
nursing.
For the staff to speak Spanish to the patients.
That's the one that is the English to Spanish. That way, we have all the staff, the ancillary departments, and they're able to communicate with the Spanish-speaking patients or visitors. So we have also the Mediclang A, which is the one that's from Spanish to English, which we distribute at the patient's admission to the hospital in admitting, and also we have it in the information desk for visitors. And that way, they can communicate with the staff from Spanish to English.
I see. Is there any training involved for the staff?
Not at all. Not at all.
They just get this booklet and they study that?
Well, we'll have in-services, if anybody has developed a problem with it. So far, nobody has developed a problem because it's not really a way of learning a language. It's a way of just saying it the way you're reading it to communicate at that certain moment when you need to communicate.
So is it working effectively?
Yes, so far, yes.
How long has it been in use at Christ Hospital?
Just recently, this whole booklet method, but we really started 2 years ago with a pilot program that Christ Hospital had because we saw the need to have this communication system develop in our hospital.
I think that's great. Now, is there problems, Professor, is there problems phonetically? A lot of people have problems, I think, reading phonetically. Or is there any problem with that? Or how do you get over that?
No, because actually you have to just read what you see. The only ability you have is to be able to read in Spanish. So the Insta-Lang method allows you to speak English by reading in Spanish. It doesn't require any special training, any background in languages, any background in phonetics at all. All you have to do is to read the conversion that is given to you in simplified phonetics. And again, I said that I use the word phonetics reluctantly because I know that it's a term that frightens people off a bit. But all you have to do is to read it. Like I said before, the word house, you read house, and most any Hispanic person will be able to read that conversion house. and then it comes out English.
You have a booklet aimed at, two booklets aimed at hospital procedure, but I understand that you also have, I've seen charts, for example, that is aimed at a delicatessen, where, you know, you can order specific stuff, how to order a sandwich in English. And so you must have a specific charts and programs aimed at, how does that work?
One of the most important applications of the Insta-like method is incorporated into something that we call the teleguia. And teleguia allows a Hispanic person who happens to be in an emergency to call the fire department, the police department, and then over the phone, in that particular moment, within a few seconds, be able to say what seems to be the problem. That's number one. And number two, he's able to say who he is and where he's calling from. So that's the teleguia. I think is the most successful to date applications that we've had of the Insta-line method. And of course, it's got a lot of different applications. You mentioned the deli. It is also being applied to the supermarket, because you find a lot of Hispanics who come from different Latin American nations who cannot, it may be easy for you and for me to order a pound of ham. For them, it may be something very difficult to do, and therefore they shy away, they go to a different department, or they just simply do not buy the ham. And this is not good for the supermarket in a way. So by using the chart, which we call Mercaguia, they can walk into the deli department and say, I want half a pound of ham, or a quarter pound of ham, or cheese, or whatever it may happen to be.
By reading it in Spanish?
By reading the phonetic conversion in Spanish.
And coming out in English with it?
And coming out in English with it. That's absolutely so.
Where is your program being used, other than Christ Hospital? Right?
Well, it's being used, the teleguia is being used recently, about 6 months ago or so. Public Service Electric and Gas, PSE&G in New Jersey, sponsored the teleguia program. And they printed some 150,000 pieces of the teleguia and distributed them throughout New Jersey, churches and community organizations and agencies and so on and so forth. And that has been outstandingly successful. It's been very successful. The aim was to get the teleguia into the hands of most of the Hispanics in New Jersey, and it's been very good.
Well, there's a very large Hispanic population in New York City, and we need it here too. So we
eventually, usually we follow New York. In this case, I think New York is going to have to follow Jersey.
It looks that way. You have also been asked, I understand, by the President of the United States to translate a few historical documents.
Well, he didn't ask me to do it. I did it out of my own initiative. I translated some of the other documents, basic documents of American history.
To Spanish?
Into Spanish, including the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Gettysburg Address, and so on. And I'm working on a few others because I find that people must be able to understand and to appreciate the culture of this great nation. And the first step would be to give them the opportunity to read in their own language, which in this case would be Spanish.
The American
historical documents.
Well, let me stop you right here and ask you to read the preamble to the U.S. Constitution in Spanish.
In Spanish?
Because I think that many people have never heard it, and it would be...
It'll be my pleasure. Nosotros, el pueblo de los Estados Unidos, deseando formar una unión más perfecta, instituir la justicia, garantizar la paz nacional, atender a la defensa común, fomentar el bienestar general, así como salvaguardar la inapreciable libertad que nos ha sido otorgada para nosotros y para la posteridad, proclamamos y establecemos esta Constitución de los Estados Unidos.
Those are beautiful words in any language, wouldn't you say? I want to thank both of you for being on our show. Ana?
Thanks, Miguel. Next, housing crisis for the aged.
Insista en un pollo amarillo dorado Perdue. No se conforme con una imitación barata.
Monday on Eyewitness News at 11, Maxine Black takes us backstage at Radio City Music Hall.
When you think of the Radio City Music Hall, you think of the Rockettes. Legs!
Nothing better anywhere.
The Rockettes' fortunes have risen and fallen with the 50-year-old music hall.
But now the tune is changing, and the Rockettes are bringing in the bucks.
Oh, they're marvelous. The best show in New York.
It's Eyewitness News with Tom Snyder, Kaidi Tong, the Eyewitness News team, and the Rockettes, Monday at 11.
To grow the world's best tasting potato? Well, first you get yourself a volcano. And after it's through blowing up, you wait, about 65 million years until the soil is just right. Add your perfect climate. Put it all in one place and call it Idaho.
If you want the right potato, you know just where to go. When you find that seed, you know it's real, it's grown in Idaho.
65 million years in the making and worth the wait.
For Yankee baseball, it's WABC Talk Radio 77.
Catch Yankee Fever with me, Art Russ Jr. on Sports Talk right here on WABC Talk Radio 77. For every hit and pitch, nobody knows more about Yankee baseball than I do.
Hey, Art, that's what's one exception. Let's make that two exceptions.
All right, you guys. You got me, you got me. WABC Talk Radio 77. Yankee baseball.
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school just like their neighbors and come back to a real home, a supervised home, right in the neighborhood where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.
One of the problems we all face today is where are we going to spend our later years, specifically housing. To discuss that issue with us today is Carmen Arroyo of the South Bronx Community Corporation. She's the executive director of that corporation, and Fermina Escoval, one of the residents of a New York City housing project, to discuss her life in the housing development. Welcome to Tiempo, and thank you very much for coming to our show.
Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
All right, well, first of all, what type of housing is available to the elderly?
There are two types of housing for elderly. There is one that is built specifically for elderly and handicaps. The New York City Housing Authority has a program also, and they give priority to seniors. But those seniors have to live together with all the other tenants in the same building. And all of us know that New York City Housing Authority today have a lot of restrictions in terms of services. That means that seniors in a conventional housing setting doesn't have the services and the proper facilities.
What particular facilities are you talking about, Carmen?
Well, you can have a building with 200 apartments, and you can have 15 seniors living in different apartments. That means that they have to divide their life, the same elevator when the elevator works. Security is very poor. When the facility is specifically for seniors, the building is built with certain capacity for them. For example, the elevators have a more open door. They don't have visitors like, you know, the regular housing, and they just receive their families, and there is more proper treatment for them.
What is being done specifically for the Hispanic elderly?
Well, I could say in the area that I work in the South Bronx, we have been working very close with New York City Housing Authority and the new developments, and you can find buildings that have a high percentage of Hispanic seniors. Specifically in our area, for example, Betances Houses has in one of their buildings that is specifically for seniors. I could say that more than 90% of the seniors that live in that building are Hispanics. We have another development in 138th
What advantages does that offer, having
them in the same place? Well, I think that one of the problems that we face is a cultural problem, that our seniors live, when they have to stay alone, they feel that they have been left alone. When they live with another seniors in the same buildings, they gather together and they see each other. They go shopping together, and they help each other, and that's I think that is
Yeah,
great.
no one really likes to live alone, but is that, Fermina, now you live in the housing development on 143rd Street. Now, there are a lot of senior citizens there?
No.
No?
No.
Do you have problems because of that?
Yes, yes. You know, one of the problems that Mrs. Arroyo said is the elevator. I live in the top floor, and sometimes I have to walk because the elevator is only one elevator. And
Well, Carmen, what are we doing to be able to alleviate some of the things for the Hispanic?
Well, there are two things that we can do. I think that seniors should have a place where they can call or go for help. We have developed programs in the South Bronx. The South Bronx Corporation have a program funded by the state to help seniors. That means that we have employees that listen to them if they call or visit the office. At the same time that we serve them some lunches and they gather to play bingo and, together, that they are not alone.
Do you have a number for us to have anyone call?
Yes, 665-7784. The person in charge is Mrs. Lozada. She is Hispanic. She happens to be Puerto Rican, and she speaks both languages, English and Spanish. Our purpose is really to alleviate the problems that they have. If the check doesn't come through, or the pension check or the SSI check, they need somebody to help them. If they feel sick, there are services available for them. And what we do is really we try to make their life more easy.
Now, I know there's a new project under development now at 138th Street.
Yes.
Now, how is that different?
Well, that particular project is funded by the federal government under the 202 law, which is a program that provides money to develop apartments for seniors and handicaps. Then the South Bronx Corporation was granted in the past 3 years, a grant to build 97 units. And that was done because when I was hired director of the South Bronx Corporation, I tried to change the image of the anti-poverty program through community development and community advocacy. One of the problems that I know that exists are for seniors and handicaps, and you can find a lot of handicaps living in New York City Housing Authority apartments or in private houses, and they have to move in a wheelchair, and it's impossible for them. You have blind people. Then I put that little package together. We were fortunate that the federal government funded us, and what we perceive is a project with 97 units, 24 for handicaps, the rest for seniors with a social program. The facility is going to have
Well, I would imagine, though, that most of them are probably taken care of. But you gave a number, and we're running out of time. I don't want to cut you off. But do give the number again for people who are interested in doing something for the senior.
The number for the senior center is 665-7784. For the South Bronx Corporation is 292-0800.
Okay, thank you very much, Fermín. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. And Miguel?
Next, the risk of high blood pressure.
Insist on a golden yellow Purdue chicken. Don't settle for a cheap imitation.
High blood pressure is a silent killer. It often has no symptoms but can result in stroke, heart attack, or kidney failure. The only way to find out if you have high blood pressure is to be tested. Once again this year, Eyewitness News is sponsoring a free blood pressure screening clinic staffed by volunteer nurses and doctors. We invite you to come down to our tent at the entrance to Central Park, 60th Street and 5th Avenue all next week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Find out your numbers before your number's up.
I need your help. We need each other's help.
In so many ways, your gifts make possible the charitable, pastoral, and educational services of the Archdiocese of New York. Even when economic pressures have made it difficult to share, your concern assured that these works of loving service would be present. Continue this opportunity of hope as we reach out to each other for the good of our church and our community. Give to the Cardinals' annual appeal, so we will again be ready to respond where there is suffering and need.
All this week on the morning show, the baby boom is back, and we'll show you what to expect if you're expecting.
Everything from what to wear before and what to eat before the baby arrives.
Plus, Jack Klugman and Robert Guillaume.
Heather Thomas and Doug Henning.
Bob Mackey and Grace Jones.
And Dr. Roos back with some sexual advice for parents of teens.
And we'll have Super Tints for Summer Hair by Louis Licari from Le Coupe.
And Regis works out with Baryshnikov in the American Ballet Theater.
Join us Monday at 9.
Adults who suffer from life-threatening heart and lung diseases and children with congenital heart disease are offered hope through treatment and research at Deborah Heart and Lung Center, Browns Mills, New Jersey. And no patient has ever received a bill. Please contribute and call to join your local Deborah chapter.
We'd like to take a moment to remind our viewers that the station is sponsoring a free high blood pressure screening clinic this week, beginning Monday, that's tomorrow, May 2nd, through May 6th. It starts from 10 in the morning till 6 in the evening, and it's at 60th Street and 5th Avenue. And we urge all our viewers to please go and have your pressure checked.
You know, Anna, it's been said that in our community, Hispanic people tend to be a little bit more prone, perhaps, to high blood pressure because of the fact that we have a different diet. We get a little bit more excited when we talk. We wave our hands a little bit more. Our metabolism may be a little faster, so we hope that our people go out there and take advantage of this clinic all this week. We also want to tell our folks at home that we have a couple of Hispanic festivals coming up this week that are very important. Let me start off by telling them about Aspira. Aspira of New York is sponsoring a cultural festival at City College all week, and it involves theater, dance, all kinds of really good stuff to take advantage of. And the number for more information is 690-6829.
And he memorized all that, but mine's today at 3 p.m. The Hispanic American Parade Committee, that's Desfile del Día de la Hispanidad, is sponsoring an Hispanic dance and folklore festival at the Grand Ballroom of the Cooperative Auditorium. That's located at 551 Grand Street in New York. And for information, please call 242-2360.
And this is an opportunity for you to go out this week and demonstrate your pride in being Hispanic, take advantage of these cultural programs.
And I'll learn lots more about what's going on.
Enjoy yourself, yes. And hopefully you'll tune in next week and come back and spend more tiempo with us.
Right.
New York City's Community School Board election takes place this Tuesday, May 3rd. Your vote is important as it affects the lives of all children in the city's public schools and the quality of the schools in your district. Polling places will be open between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Don't forget to vote. Tuesday, May 3rd.
Next week, soccer star Perez.
And the changing roles of Hispanic women. See you then.